So you're looking at your query manager, so you find something, it's the perfect psychological horror thriller. You know that's caught your attention. What else are you evaluating when you're looking at that? How are you going to evaluate the author to see whether or not this is somebody that's worth reaching out to?
I know a lot of agents Google the author beforehand, and that's something I should probably do, but I usually don't. It's just the writing, the plot, the voice. If I fall in love with something, I'm gonna be like, hey man, I want to talk. I mean, if you committed, I don't know, wire fraud 10 years ago, I don't care. It's not my business. I care about the book, the story. I mean, look at some of the best writers. I mean, I think creatives in general are bananas. They're all insane. You know, Sylvia Plath, Hemingway, Van Gogh. So I just look at the story, the voice, and that's all that matters to me.
So if you contact the author and they're screaming and they direct you to their website that's I don't know, just wildly just the craziest stuff you would ever want to read on the internet, which would be saying something, fine, I expect you to be nuts. What a story though. Let's make this happen.
No, not some people. I don't want to work with. And I know crazy isn't the right word. I don't want to work with unstable. I mean, I want to work with someone who it's their job. They write. I mean, if you're on Twitter ranting and raving about reptilian aliens and the government, that's not my bag. I mean, that's not something I'm gonna handle because I mean, it is a business. Straight up, it's a business.
On Alice Walker. No, cheap shot.
Exactly. Not to knock Alice Walker, you know, all that, but yeah, I mean, it's a business, and unless you're Stephen King, you know, be cool online. Just, you know, try not to piss other people off, especially now that, you know, publishers are including moral clauses because people being ridiculous online.
So with morality, with moral clauses, how are you navigating those, and how are you advising your clients to navigate around those?
So most moral clauses try to include wording that says anything offensive or problematic. And I always strike those because, you know, what I find offensive may not be offensive to someone else. And what may be offensive to someone else isn't offensive to me. I mean, that's too subjective. I care about legalities. You know, if you commit murder, yeah, okay, your publisher, you know, has the right to be like, we're canceling your book. And I mean, I know I may get flack for it too, but I think publishers have the right to do that because they're private corporations. I mean, I can't buy into the whole canceling thing because, I mean, you have the right to say what you want, and I have the right to respond how I want. But, you know, it's a fine line because if you say, I believe in Atlantis, and someone finds that offensive, should you lose your book deal? Should the publisher be able to say, we don't support people who believe in Atlantis? So, and I mean, you get in a lot of trouble because people are passionate. They don't want to work for a company that publishes Mike Pence or publishes Tucker Carlson or Joe Biden. I mean, everyone's different. So I think moral clauses are dangerous, but I understand. I mean, publishers are businesses. They have to protect their business. I mean, all the higher ups, they're all Wall Street fat cats who probably haven't read a book in 20 years.
They just know how to make money in publishing or in a business, or not even that.
In a business in general. I mean, you know, CEOs switch industries all the time, switch companies all the time. I mean, the CEO of Publisher A, for all we know, came from, you know, Wells Fargo. Just the nature of business. People, I read somewhere, people switch careers 7 times in their life. So, you know, who knows what industry someone's coming from. I'm coming from medical coding. Medical coding has nothing to do with publishing.
So those are the people that are making the money decisions, as opposed to the people who are making the acquisition decisions, the people that are actually doing the editing. Presumably those are book oriented people.
Yes. I mean, just like any business, publishers are corporate America. HarperCollins isn't just HarperCollins. It's the subsidiary of News Corp that does thousands of different things. Just like Simon & Schuster was part of Viacom CBS. I mean, they're all massive conglomerates that go back decades, if not hundreds of years.
So what limitations does that impose on you, and what opportunities does that open up?
Limitations, I think, I mean, publishers, they each have their own persona and brand, and it's hard to get around or break that. And opportunities, I mean, I think in life, it's very much who you know and when you know them. For example, Weinstein Company, I forget the name of the publisher. It was Weinstein's imprint. And he got in trouble because, you know, people who would do favors for him, he'd like give them a book deal and they would get book deals. And there's been interviews with editors who edited those books that are like, yeah, these are garbage. There's no reason that these books should have been published. But it was Weinstein, his imprint, and he said, publish it. And, you know, Weinstein wasn't the nicest guy, to say the least.
So I read.
A monster of a human being.
And plants. Monstrous to humans and to plants. Watch out for Harvey Weinstein. But, you know, I mean, if you're an editor and you've got a nice job and a position, and, you know, you don't know all of that about Harvey Weinstein at the time, he's the producer of all your favorite movies, all the big Oscar-winning films. Yeah.
There's a clip, I forget where it's from, that a producer stands up and says, I'm a producer, a very important person to a very small number of people. And I think that's absolutely true, because you probably have no idea who produced Forrest Gump. But that person put together Forrest Gump. You just had no idea who the hell they are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and even if, well, I assume by the time you get all the way out to I'm sure there was a whole cadre of people around Weinstein enabling his behavior. But I think by the time you get all the way out to the publisher on another coast who's editing books by his idiot celebrity friends, then that's somebody who's trying to make a living in books. I don't know that I would disparage them because of his.
Oh, no, it has nothing to do with the editors at all.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the editors. Editors are, I don't want to say grunts, but on the front line. I mean, they're in it like agents for the passion of it. No one goes into publishing for riches. It's because they love books, they love editing, and it has nothing to do with the business higher ups, which is why you'll see a lot of protests, like, you know, walkouts and that kind of thing, which is what happened. You know, Woody Allen's book got slashed and ended up at Skyhorse because the editors said, no, we don't want to be involved with the company that publishes this crap by this person. I mean, editors are amazing. I'm besties with editors.
Well, in a situation like we're in currently, where there's 4 major publishers at this point,
Yes.
and they're all large enough that they're going to have connections to some sort of Weinstein type individual. I mean, just by the virtue of the fact there's only 4 of them, and there's a lot of bad people out there.
Yep, big business. Big business is full of big bads. I think any industry is.
So, well, how we put on our futurist caps, where do you see this going? Are we going to see 3 and then 2 and then everybody's being published by Disney and that's it? Or what do you think?
I
look forward
think
to
left unfettered, that's where we're heading. But, you know, the DOJ, I think, is doing their job and jumping in to try to defeat the Penguin Random House Simon & Schuster merger, because for that very reason, it will be a monopoly, a conglomerate of epic proportions. And, you know, I'm sure some people may be miffed that I'm saying DOJ is doing a good thing, but I mean, I think they're doing a good thing. I think it stifles fair competition and the exchange of ideas. And, you know, they'll always say, oh, they'll be separate. They'll be separate. But that's just business jargon. They're not going to be separate. I mean, Harlequin and HarperCollins, they're not separate. HarperCollins and Houghton Mifflin, they're not going to be separate. They're already not. We've had that conversation in the industry. They are not going to be separate.
Just because the editors are going to go back and forth and work for both, or how are they going to merge?
Yeah, I mean, editors are going to acquire across imprints. It's the same company, same parent company. That's same business, same organization. For example, we opened up Tobias Literary Management to do scripts. We're the same company. I mean, that's its own department, and Eric Jones, the head of that, he makes his own decisions, but it's the same company.
Gotcha. So you're, at the end of the day, you're all in the same room talking about what the different sides of the business are doing.
Yep, absolutely. Same company, different department, but, you know, it's the way the business world works.
So for authors, does that, I mean, I'm assuming that limits a little bit where they can be submitting, because if HarperCollins said no, does that by default mean that Harlequin said no also?
Yes and no. I mean, you can submit to HarperCollins and Harlequin, so there is separation in that sense, but it does absolutely limit where you can go. I mean, where there were 5 publishers, now there's 4, because Penguin Random House melded together. So if I submit to an editor at Penguin, that editor may also acquire across Random House or various other imprints. So I mean, the landscape is shrinking. It's making it more difficult for authors, making it more difficult for us. For editors, the only people who are, you know, benefiting are the fat cat Wall Street CEOs.
Gotcha. And so getting back to the morality clause, if it's somebody like that that's making the decision, it's not a question of what's the book about, what did the author say? It's, did that potentially harm our profits? Get out of here. Is that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why, I mean, people, they still publish Tucker Carlson and Mike Pence. Because who cares if they're an a-hole or they promoted the insurrection? It's about the dollars, because it's a business.
Well, I mean, before America crashes and burns, there is a lot of money that could be made.
yeah, there's a lot of money to be made. And it's the nature of the beast. It's the nature of business. I mean, look at the Sacklers. They made billions off of dead people. And they're going to make billions off declaring bankruptcy and losing Purdue Pharma. They're going to walk away with $10 billion. And that's a lot of money. I'd like $10 billion.
Yeah.
I
mean, not at the expense of of the
No,
devastation.
I would not want $10 billion if 400,000 people had to die.
If you can swap me with Richard Sackler in whatever lab they grew him from, where you don't have that fear, that tug at your heart that bothers you at all, you could get a lot of evil accomplished if that's not holding you back.
You could, but I mean, I'm a firm believer you can succeed without being an a-hole. Pardon my French. Which is what I try to do. I'm not a perfect person. I'm sure some people out there think I did them dirty, but you know, I try to be a mensch, try to do the best I can. And I think that's all you can do.